welcome to the third and final review of the evening in Passageway of the Ancients. Inspired by classic CRPGs from the 90s and early 2000s, Passageway of the Ancients transports players to the world of Arion, I'm going to presume, the galaxy's sole remaining magical planet, where they explore the city of Ilfgar to solve their parents' murder. Right. So it is very accurate, that description. Um, when they say classic CRPGs from the 90s and 2000s, they are specifically talking about the Infinity Engine games. Um, and you've probably heard talk of that on this program, as I recently went through about 200 hours of another Infinity Engine tribute game in Pillars of Eternity. The difference there is Pillars of Eternity was made by some of the same people who made those old games. This is pure tribute, as far as I can tell. Like, according to the marketing materials on Steam, it does appear that the development studio is made up of industry veterans, but I'm not sure if any of them worked on like Baldur's Gate or Icewind Dale. So, putting that aside, this is an interesting game in some regards. Honestly, the most interesting parts are the things that it brings, new things it brings to the table. Um, for example, uh, so you've got your typical character creation slot, um, but here's the thing: it's a literal illusion. Like, the creation is for your public-facing persona. Because you're actually one of the hidden dragon kind. Not sure if that's how that's pronounced. It looks like they're going something Germanic here with the name, but I'm going to go with that until I hear it pronounced. Also worth noting that there's no voice acting in the game. At least none I experienced. Um, but anyway, so the thing is, the dragon kinds are hated slash prosecuted. So in order to, not get stoned in the streets, you have to take up an illusion. So you have to, present yourself as a human, dwarf, or elf of various, varying skin tone, um, surprising amount of body type options here. You know, and I honestly don't know how to feel about this, because it's like, on the one hand, there was probably a narrative to be had, um, and it's sort of there, but the problem with being a big ass CRPG is even with the break, I didn't have the time to get through this. Didn't help that I got stuck at a certain point, which was actually rather early in the game, because of one of the other twists that this game is bringing to the table. Um, anyway, how this works out mechanically is you literally have an option to switch to your dragon man persona, dragon person, a draconian. Um, and when you do that, you actually get more powerful. Like you can manhandle enemies a lot quicker and easier. Trying to like I'm trying to remember if there was like any other penalties for using the Dragonkind option, because it's like it's not a thing you
Aside from
want
not being able
to.
to do it in social situations.
Right, because when I used it, there didn't seem to be like a pen, like less experience, draining health, that kind of thing.
It looks like a lot of the lore is based on, and specifically the Dragonkind kind thing is based on an unpublished novel by one of the
Yeah,
studio founders.
that literally means nothing to me, because I'm like, okay, it's based off of
I'm
an
just saying what I'm trying to communicate with it is you shouldn't know it from anywhere because it's something that was made up by the guys who made the game and
right.
hasn't been published anywhere.
Yeah, okay, a fair point, I suppose. Um, anyway, so another, you know, twist. Um, I'm not exactly sure what to call it. Invention, addition, gameplay tweak is mystical locks. So in addition to what is now a bog standard lock picking mini game, seriously, if you've played a Bethesda RPG, you've played this, you played it better,
Mm,
because it's like the mirror shell of that mini game. Like you have to get the lock pick in the right place, and then you move the tumbler, um, and you move the lock pick when the tumbler's in the right place. Otherwise, you'll break it. Once again, I've seen it. What I haven't seen is taking inspiration from Bookworm Adventures. So the magic locks, um, they're locked by wordplay. I know that's a weird thing to say, but it's true. Like, in order to break mystical locks, you have to figure out the mystical word, and you're given a bunch. You're given the letters of the alphabet, and you got to put them into the word spaces. And once you've spelt out the proper word, it'll unlock. And there's two levels to this. There's there's like the regular locks, which give you hints, as in, it will let you know when the letters are in the proper place, or if you've got the letters in, that's in the word, but in the improper place, it'll let you know that as well. So there's a bit of wordle slash lingo in it as well. The thing about that kind of puzzle is you can brute force it. Even if you don't look up the hints, and I did this, you can just put each letter of the alphabet in, and if it, you know, lets you know if it's in there or if it's not. I will also note that you can have multiples of the same letter in the same word. So like if the word's elope, yes, both e's have to be put in. It's not you just put in the blanket e and it'll uncover all e's. It's the next level that I had a problem with. It's where the hints are obfuscated. So you just have to solve the puzzle, and I did not solve the puzzle. So worth noting there. If you're not, if you're not particularly good at word puzzles, if you struggle at playing the daily Wordle, look elsewhere. It is the strangest non-recommendation I've ever had to issue on the program, but here we are. Um, anyway, so finally, at least in my play session, um, because it looks like there were a few other bits and bobs that I didn't get to, like the metaphysical device, which allows you to break these mystical stones that are plot important. Um, the actual combat is bringing something new to the table. It's not, you can play it like an Infinity Engine game and just, point, click, and let the battle run through, but that's not the optimal way to do things. See, what this game introduced is the stance system, for a better for lack of a better term, or I think they have an internal term, but I forget what it was. You can you have to take a position in a few different ways. It's you can attack low, high, and middle, for example. And how that works in conjunction with the enemies is how do you expect, actually. Um, if you fight a rat, you're going to want to hit low because it's low to the ground. If you're fighting like an eagle, you want to aim high. But it's not just, that kind of position. It's also like the stance. I forget the like all the names that they give, like reposite, reposite, um, that kind of thing. The fancy fencing stances. And there's like a third level, and also does that with the magic. And the way you find out the optimal ways of fighting a creature is to um, you fight enough of them in order to unlock their bestiary secrets, or you use a scroll on them. Oh, yeah. It's like probing, balanced, and aggressive in terms of like um sword disposition. Like I said, it's an interesting feature. I've never seen that in a CRPG before. Um, and it gives the game its best flavor of individuality to separate it from the um, good old games, if you will. And apparently, this draws upon actual real medieval weapons and tactics. I couldn't speak to that. Otherwise, yeah, the game is very much real time with pause, um, like the Infinity Engine games or like with Pillars of Eternity et al. So, if you are familiar with those games, you will be mostly familiar with what this game is doing. Um, it brings its individual quirks to the table. Um, so how does it all come together? Like I said, outside of the unique flourishes, it's a decent tribute to the Infinity Engine games, but yeah, it's not going to be replacing Baldur's Gate 2 in the greatest RPGs of all time. But I don't think it ever set out to do that. You know, I think the devs just wanted to make a game in this style and introduce some particular flourishes, and I think it accomplished that goal. So in terms of pricing, very affordable here. It new its full price is $19.99, but it's currently on sale because we are recording this over a Steam sale weekend. It's the big autumn sale, so it's clocking in at $14.99. It's like, once again, I would never recommend this over either like the old Infinity Engine games or some of the newer, big time uh, isometric CRPGs, not just the tribute game Pillars of Eternity, but also like Wasteland 2, which has less to do with that. Not completely out of that range, but less. That's more Fallout, um, which is in the same ballpark, but is fully turn based. No, not turn based with pause. It is a big distinction and difference. Um, but yeah, I think this is good and well enough, especially since it appears to have been done by a small indie team. Any other questions, comments, or concerns over Passageway of the Ancients?
Not really. I don't think so.
All right. All right. So, yeah, that'll about do it for not just this review, but this review session. So, coming up on the week ahead. So, on Wednesday, December 4th, we'll be welcoming Crashteroid of Red Nexus Games. So, that's a bit of a misnomer because Crashteroid is technically a freelance composer, but he also did do the composition for Red Nexus's most recent two games, one of which was featured in the Nintendo Direct. We'll be talking about the atmospheric puzzle platformer Foul Damage and the Pachinko roguelike Penguin. Like I said, Penguin's the one that was featured in a Nintendo Direct recently. So look forward to that. No Friday show. There are no Friday shows in December because Petty had some doctor's appointments that needed scheduling around. Like, and we do plan to start MSP up this Wednesday. We are assuming that's going to go forward. Mac or no Mac. On it, like we are assuming Mac's going to be there. Always rolling the dice with him, but since the system doesn't depend on him being there, MSP will be going regardless. So until next time, I shall wish you good gaming.